he ended up telling me that the baby that was aborted wasn't mine. You are immediately married within a lie already.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So the marriage was never the same after that, was it?
No, it was. This is at the beginning. You know what I'm saying? This is right at the beginning. And so within that process,
she probably should have kept that to herself.
And well, I'm glad she didn't. And so within that process, with that being known, it was just like, yo, with even in being, the pregnancy, she almost died within the pregnancy. So that was a hard time too.
Right.
It was a lot. It was other times. She had gotten pregnant, other things, and it just got to a point.
She had gotten pregnant again?
Yeah.
While y'all were together?
Yeah.
And it wasn't you?
No, with me.
Ah, come on, Cal.
It wasn't me. It wasn't.
And you stuck around?
Yeah, I stuck around. But here's the thing. These were things that were being revealed.
She telling you this?
No.
How do you find this out? I want to know how you found this out. You read a letter. You got to it to the phone.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So how that one went? There was a thing where we weren't having sex anymore, and we weren't doing anything anymore. Because
you weren't having sex. Clearly, she was.
Yeah. It's just because of I knew what was going on.
Right.
And I was like, yo, what is even happening? You're not coming home. You're not doing all these different things.
And y'all man, she not coming home.
Yeah.
So, Kel, who is this person that was pregnant? Because it was not me. Like, who was this? And then other thing is, like, how do you remember all these pregnancies, but you don't remember your kids for, like, years? Like, I don't even know, 13, I don't know, 14. And then how do you remember all these pregnancies, but you don't remember Nick, in my cheerleading outfit, right? Like, how does your memory work exactly? Because you remember lots of things about me from a long time ago, and it's just kind of odd, like, how your memory works. Like, you don't remember, I don't know, do you remember your daughter in a car accident? You remember your son losing his tooth? You remember taking your kids' money? Do you remember being completely physically, mentally abusive? Do you remember that you used to beat me and hit me and choke me and strangle me when I would come out the hospital because I have sickle beta thalassemia disease? Do you remember that? Do you remember that you were addicted to sex? Do you remember that? Do you remember me catching you with a man? Do you remember that? Do you remember you using the money that I created to pay for an entire woman's place? Do you remember that? Do you remember, taking the kids to Chicago and not telling me? Do you remember unilaterally filing for divorce and then moving back in with your mistress? Do you remember that? It's just, your memory is so strange. Like, do you remember that you didn't have any money for 5 years and the studio told you that, basically told everybody that you were dead, and so I had to write a pilot for you? Do you remember that I wanted to be a mathematician, but instead I decided to be in a rap group with you? Do you remember that? Do you remember that when no one else was talking about you, I produced and wrote Kel Videos Live? Do you remember? Do you remember I also wrote and produced Ganked? Do you remember that? Do you remember that movie that you did with Cedric the Entertainer? The one that I gave you? Do you remember that you took that and you sold it for $2,500? Do you remember that? Because your memory is so interesting to me, because I don't know why you didn't remember that I don't even like bodily fluids. So that I was actually relieved to find out when you were cheating. When I found out you were cheating, I was relieved. Did you remember that? Do you remember that I lost my virginity to you? Do you remember that? So your memory is interesting. So I think we should, let's figure out, let's sit down. Let's have a sit down and let's think about, this memory. I have a few items that might, jog your mind to help you with some of that memory. I don't know if this is like beginning Alzheimer's or something. But yeah, let's talk about it though, because I'm ready.
Hey, that's wild, bro. I don't know why Kel Mitchell brought that shit up in that Shannon Sharp interview. Like, he over there gossiping like a woman, bro. You already know she got some dirt on you. Why would you speak on that lady knowing she got hella dirt on you? Now, I remember hearing that story back in the day, but I ain't really believe it. As far as she catching Nick Cannon with Kel and he had her cheerleader outfit on and they was doing whatever. Like, I believe a lot of kids that came up out of that whole Nickelodeon camp, I believe that they was all like, well, not all, but they was like, touched or around a whole bunch of inappropriate shit that when they got older, they started doing the same thing. Especially Drake Bell, like, bruh, he was assaulted as a little kid, and I can only imagine all the stuff that he had to go through. Even Josh don't look right. So I can only imagine him getting older and doing the same things he saw, but she was also talking about him putting hands on her, him not being there for kids and certain things they had got going on. Like, yo, Kel should have just shut the hell up. Like, and both of them should have left each other. If that was true and she kept getting pregnant by other men, why you ain't divorce her? Like, what? I wish I would take my girl back. Cheating is one thing. Getting pregnant, having unprotected sex, that's a whole nother thing. And then on her, if you caught him in the bed with men and caught him with Nick Cannon, why you stay with him? If you don't like dudes like that, why you with a dude that's on the down low? Like, both of them a mess. They should have been left each other. Shit is wild, man. What y'all think about this, baby? How much?